Quantum computers are the main threat to modern cryptocurrencies. Quantum processors can simultaneously be in a superposition of 0 and 1. This enables them to perform calculations millions times faster than traditional computers. One quantum computer can surpass the performance of all the computers in the world combined and crack user codes, which are used for transaction authorization in blockchain by implementing Shor and Grover's algorithm, quantum key distribution, and post-quantum cryptography.
was in the United States Air Force for 5.5 years, active duty, and reserve for 2 years and inactive for another 2 years. And in and out of different types of projects as a civilian after that, because of my clearance and because of the job I held with them and other corporations that were funded by the government. The technology I witnessed in the programs that were suppressive, that were suppressed still to this day, are things like anti-gravity, zero-point energy, a lot of 3D holographic imaging. Of course, there's a lot of devices that were reverse engineered by these corporations from government retrieved downcraft and extraterrestrial DNA, along with hybrid DNA from these specimens. So these things are all suppressed, so we don't have to live like we do now. We could actually have a lot of abundance as far as medical technologies, the cures for diseases, the abundance of water and food for everyone, and housing if these technologies were released, and of course energy, free energy for everyone. So we have multiple whistleblowers now that I've worked with that do want to come forward now since I came forward, and they are making special arrangements right now for their life and for their family, because that's how serious it is. They're actually preparing certain ways they're going to live, and how they're going to protect themselves just in case someone doesn't approve of them coming out. But the thing is, they're having the integrity and the love to come forward like I have and just give it to the people.
The theories of energy by Nikola Tesla have been revolutionary, to say the least. But for some mysterious reason, history does not dwell enough on his story.
The U.S. government sat on Tesla's entire estate for 10 years. Did they keep any of his papers?
I read that some people claim that Tesla saw the Great Pyramid as a power generator.
All the pyramids had an explosion, and maybe all at the same time.
Did you know that the word pyromene in Latin means fire in the middle?
Before Tesla, you could only send electricity 1 mile just for lighting. After Tesla, you could run factories 400, 500, 600 miles in all directions.
They get a story and they repeat it over and over. They have no proof of any of it. They never found a mummy in a pyramid.
Did Nikola Tesla find the secret to unlimited energy? And is there a plot to hide his findings?
Energy, the ultimate power. When I think about it, I find that most wars that have been waged in the past years have been about the control of what provides energy. And if I'm to talk about energy, then I must mention Nikola Tesla. I still remember my physics teacher at school saying that Tesla was an exceptional genius, whose work is behind many important inventions. The story of energy might be quite mysterious. Tesla was a scientist, but some people say that he was mystical. They claim he believed the Egyptian Great Pyramids were key to limitless energy, an energy that could be distributed to everyone in the world for free. He was a controversial personality even after his death. They say that after he died alone in his hotel room in New York, the FBI confiscated all his belongings, taking all his documents with them. And for many years, they say they were classified, and even until now, many people claim there are documents missing. Who was Nikola Tesla? Was he really a genius? What is the difference between him and the famous inventor Thomas Edison? I think the best person to answer this is Dr. Mark Safer, writer and university lecturer, who also authored the book Wizard: The Life and Times of Nikola Tesla.
Hi, Mark. Thank you for meeting me.
Thank you.
The first question I have is, who was Nikola Tesla?
Nikola Tesla was born in 1856 in Smiljan, Croatia. He studied at the University of Graz, which was like the MIT of Austria in those days. He was a mathematical genius, and he eventually moved to the United States to work for Tom Edison. Things didn't work out too well, and then he moved out on his own.
Can you tell me what was his greatest accomplishments?
And I don't think it's just one. I think there's at least three major inventions. The first is the induction motor. And what Tesla figured out was how to harness alternating current. Before Tesla, you could only send electricity 1 mile, power dropping off over distance, just for lighting. After Tesla, you could put one hydroelectric power system. He's the inventor of the hydroelectric power system, and you could run factories 400, 500, 600 miles in all directions. He also invented wireless communication. He invented what became the radio and cell phone technology, the ability to multiply frequencies and created an unlimited number of wireless channels. We talk about Hertz waves, but they're not really Hertz waves. They're Tesla waves. All of our computer systems run on the binary code, and he really is the forerunner to all that. So I think those are his three major inventions.
That's really big. In your opinion, what makes him different from other inventors like Edison, for example?
In general, Edison built better mousetraps. The light bulb existed before Edison perfected the light bulb. Motion picture cameras existed. He built the best one. Tesla himself distinguished from Edison because Tesla said, I discovered new principles. He was able to transmit voice by means of wireless communication. That was a new principle.
One of Tesla's most spectacular projects was the Wardenclyffe Tower that was in New York. With it, he wanted to send wireless electricity across the globe.
What can you tell me about Tesla's towers?
It's a very sad story. In 1898, he was doing big experiments in downtown New York City, and it was scary. So he moved all the way out to Colorado to test his wireless inventions and met with J.P. Morgan, and Morgan gave him $150,000 to build a tower. Tesla read an article that Marconi was using his equipment, and he freaked out. So he doubled the size of the tower because he figured, I'm not going to just send impulses from New York to London. If I build a tower twice that height, I can send it all over the world, and Morgan will make even more money. So Morgan was in Europe at the time, and when Morgan returned, he found out that Tesla ran out of money, but he'd also doubled the size of the tower from 90 feet to 180 feet. So that was one of the reasons Morgan pulled the funding. But Morgan didn't just pull the funding, he blocked other investors. And the reason he blocked Tesla, I think, is because he was partly afraid that maybe Tesla was right. Maybe you could send electrical power without wires. And Morgan had rubber plantations. You know, you have the rubber around the wires. He had copper mines. He had lumber yards. He wanted telephone poles. He wanted wires. He wanted to sell copper. He wanted to sell rubber.
After Tesla died, what happened to his inventions and documents and manuscripts?
The U.S. government sat on Tesla's entire estate for 10 years. So from 1943 to about 1952, until they finally released it, and now his estate is in Belgrade. And the question that you're really asking is, did they keep any of his papers? I don't know if they did, and it wouldn't surprise me if indeed that has occurred.
I read that some people claim that Tesla saw the Great Pyramid as a power generator. And they say that he built his tower that generates power from nature using the same engineering principles as the ones used to build the Great Pyramid. Have you considered that this could be nonsense? This is a good question, of course. And I may just know someone who could answer it.
Why are there people who believe there is a strong connection between the Great Pyramids and great energy? The film producer and director Carmen Bolter made a 5-part documentary titled The Pyramid Code, which focuses on the pyramids and other ancient structures in Egypt. I watched this documentary series to search for new information.
Nikola Tesla sought to provide the world with free, wireless electricity for everybody on Earth. He discovered that electricity occurred naturally throughout the Earth's atmosphere and ground.
This energy was not the kind of energy that we have that pollutes. It was a completely passive energy that had no byproducts.
If the pyramid fields and the network of underground tunnels are still there, why don't they generate energy the way they used to?
What did Tesla see in the pyramids other than they are giant tombs? I'd like to ask Carmen this question.
Hi, Carmen. Carmen, can you explain to me why do you think the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt were not tombs?
It has nothing to do with that. And they keep repeating. They get a story and they repeat it over and over, and they get the students to repeat it to get their mark, to get out of college. And none of it, they have no proof of any of it. They never found a mummy in a pyramid.
Why do you think they were power generators?
Christopher Dunn has shown how the pyramids could have been used as energy plant. He's written several books, the Giza Power Plant. He's an engineer. And so his research isn't psychic and, esoteric in any way. It's mechanical. And he's done a very good job of showing how energy could have been collected. And that's what part of the weird chemical marks that you see. All the pyramids had an explosion, and maybe all at the same time. And huge cracks are in these stones that are like 300 tons. So how do you crack through the entire stone without this force? And in the Great Pyramid, in the King's Chamber, there's like a crack in the wall, and the side of the sarcophagus is blown right off. And that's like 4 inches thick of pure granite, which is very hard. So if we went in there with sledgehammers and 100 people, we couldn't break it that way.
It's funny that you say that, because did you know that the word pyramid in Latin means fire in the middle?
Aha!
Did Tesla use ancient Egyptian theories in his work? Is there a similarity between Tesla's towers of wireless energy and the pyramids? Danny Kerr has done a lot of research on the pyramids and energy. He may have some answers.
Hi, Danny. How do you think the pyramids generated energy?
I went to look at the inside of the Great Pyramid and try and figure out how it worked. And what I realized was there was a gentleman named John Cadman. He's a hydrologist, and he had shown that the Great Pyramid could then be like a pulse generator. He showed how it created water hammer and could pump water. When I first saw his theory, I realized right away that the granite plugs that are in the start of the ascending passages, that those would move. The pyramids had perimeter walls around them, and I didn't know this before, and it's accepted by Egyptologists, and they say it was to keep thieves out. And what he was saying was it was to keep water in. That was really interesting. And so the water level of the pyramid would be above the ascending passage girdle stones. And so the water would have built up above them. The second you start a pulse inside, it pushes water up. And from there, the pressure increase just did work on the King's Chamber. Then once I just started to investigate how a motor would work that like this, with a pressure change inside, came across thermoacoustic engines.
Can you now please tell me similarities between Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower and the Giza Pyramids?
Apparently Tesla said his Wardenclyffe Tower, he was using a longitudinal wave, or he was outputting a longitudinal electric wave. And technically it's not possible. No one's figured that out. In the pyramids, they're producing loud vibrations that mix to produce longitudinal waves. It's very similar. Also, the pyramids in Egypt and the Wardenclyffe Tower are both built on aquifers. With the Wardenclyffe Tower, the water was there to aid the grounding. He was transmitting through ground, and the water lowered the resistance in the ground and made it a conductor. The pyramids, that's also the case. Not only are they water powered, they are built above an aquifer, and they were sat in pools, we think. Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower was low frequency. So is the Great Pyramid. That's another similarity. Both have the capability to transmit worldwide.
It seems that there can be a similarity in principles between the energy tower built by Tesla and the Great Pyramids built by ancient Egyptians. Could this be a coincidence? And why has there been no one until today who tried using this technology? These are questions that require another journey to search for answers.